Welcome to Raven's Reads. I'm Raven.
My name is Charles, and today we have a very interesting episode on Raven's Read. So, as you already know, Raven read 70 books last year, and I'm sure you've been curious to find out how she managed to read so many books. Raven is here, and we are going to be interviewing her together to find out how she managed to read those number of books. So, Raven, for starters, tell us, how did you read 70 books last year? Give us an overview.
Yeah, so last year, I just had a goal originally in January. I set on my Goodreads reading challenge that I would read 30 books, which was the same goal that I had in 2019. I had only read 39 books in 2019, so I didn't want to increase the goal. I thought about it, but I said, I'll read the same number. And if I get over and exceed it, I'll feel good about myself. So January 2020, I set the goal of 30. But then by March, when the pandemic hit and lockdown started, I found myself with a lot of extra time. And I filled that time with reading.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's like a very, proactive, way to, make use of the time. I'm sure a lot of people struggle through the lockdown and they were wondering what could have done. And you managed to do very good with that time that, you had on your hands.
Yeah.
So 70 books. Tell us, how did you access these books?
So, of course, I access books that I own on my bookshelf. I also am a user of the Toronto Public Library, so here's my library card.
Having fun isn't hard when you've got a library card.
I really encourage everyone to use their public
Library
library, wherever you live. So not only does this allow me to go into the library and get books. During the lockdowns, of course, they closed, but I was able to continue to put books on hold and then have like a curbside pickup where I would be able to safely pick up the books. Also, they also have the Libby app for the library where you're able to
Libby app.
where you're able to borrow books, ebooks and e-audiobooks on the app. I also have had my Kindle since about high school.
Kindle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So last year I decided to get the Kindle Unlimited subscription. So a lot of books are available on there. So you just pay one monthly fee and then you're able to access all the books. And a lot of the books on Kindle are short stories, series by authors that are exclusive for the Amazon Kindle users. So that was really good because the short stories really help you to build up the number because they're usually less than 100 pages. So it was really enjoyable reading that way. Also, my friend Chantal and I, for the first time ever last summer, we did a drive around in the neighborhood. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the little free libraries.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar, they're little sheds or look almost like birdhouses too sometimes. They're on the front lawn of people's property and people donate books, like you drop books off and you can also take books and use them. So it's just like a free sharing way of free sharing books with each other. So yeah, we did that one Saturday and enjoyed getting some books that way. And of course, new releases, I was able to get some that I decided to buy because I was buying a few books on my bookstore online too.
You have to pay, you have to spend your money.
Yeah, but I'm glad, of course, I did use some of the other resources available because if I had to purchase all 70 books last year, I don't know, I would have spent a lot of money on books. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. Wait, so I'm thinking about it, 70 books. And you're talking about access to all these number of books. I'm thinking about, there are so many books in the world. How did you select 70 books out of all these number of books that you find around you?
How did I choose the 70 books that I read? Yeah, so a lot of them were books I had on my shelf that I put off from reading. Like I wanted to read them, but I never got around to it yet. Some of them were new releases. Others were recommended by friends. Also, the Goodreads app has some algorithms based on the books that you put on your shelf that you've already read. It will show you recommendations that they think you might like. Yeah. And some books I reread, like the Harry Potter series, 1984 by George Orwell, and a few John Steinbeck books as well, which are quite old. But it's also nice to reread for comfort's sake as well. So, I think that's pretty much how I chose. But a lot of them were just totally random discoveries that I saw that just seemed like they might be interesting, especially having now used the Kindle Unlimited subscription for the first time. It did bring a lot of books to my attention that I previously weren't aware of.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, personally, I can say that reading is not only a habit that you develop, but it also is a skill of sort. So can you tell us how, the skills or the principle that you applied to read so many books?
Oh, well, I know some people are going to disagree with me, but I tend to read more than one book at the same time. And I find it very helpful because I'm not always in the mood for reading one particular book.
I see.
So if I'm reading a biography on Monday, on Tuesday, depending on the type of day I've had, I want something later, or something that I can read and finish soon, because the biographies tend to be longer usually. Sometimes over 400 or 500 pages. And sometimes I just want something that I can laugh at and just finish quickly.
Yeah.
So I will read something else on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I might not get back to the biography until the weekend. But I'm reading. I'm in the mood to read all the time, just not in the mood to read one particular thing all the time. So sometimes if you look at my Goodreads page, you might see that I have 4 or 5 books that I'm currently reading.
Okay.
And I actually am.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't commit to one thing and just read it until I'm finished, and that'd be the only thing I'm reading. So I do think that helps. Also, what helps me personally too is getting the audiobook to accompany. So there are times, when I was in school, before I was driving, I was able to read on my commute, on the bus or on the train. But now that I have my car, I don't get to read while I'm driving to work.
Yeah.
So I prefer to listen to an audiobook while I'm reading. And then when I get to work and I'm on my lunch break, I'll just figure out what page I got up to on the audiobook, and then I'll continue along. So I do like to have the audiobook accompanying me while I'm reading, if I have the ebook or the hardcover, so that I'm reading different times of the day that I might normally not be able to read.
Okay.
Yeah, so that definitely helps a lot too.
Okay. So I think the two things that I got from there is that you should always have a book available. And that could be, so many different books that are interesting to you depending on your mood.
Yeah.
So having a book always available is key.
Yeah.
And the second thing is you could have different formats of books.
Exactly.
Of the same book.
Exactly.
Depending on the times and the moments that you find yourself in.
Exactly.
So if it is audio, if you don't have the chance to read, a physical book, you just do the audio.
Exactly.
Those are very, very, important.
Yeah, let me tell you what, sir. When the gyms had reopened, I would bring my phone, and I have the Kindle app on my phone.
Yeah.
So even if I don't walk with this Kindle device, on the app, all the books would be there, and it would sync the position to. So it would save the page. So I would go to the gym and put my phone up on top on the elliptical, and I'll just be going like this and flipping the pages. I'm going on my elliptical and flipping the pages. Yeah. So.
Can you imagine that? Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
who would even think about going to the gym and reading a book at the same time? That's I think so commendable, because then it's like you're making use of every moment that you get.
Yeah, as much
You're
as I
not
could.
letting
Yeah.
any moment slip away.
Yeah, as much as I could. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you mind telling us which of the books that you read, last year that made the biggest impression on you?
Oh, well, I think the book that made the biggest impression on me, the biggest impact in my life, for sure, I want to say it's Mike Todd here, Relationship Goals. So I read that as a part of an online book club from a family that I really enjoy watching their YouTube videos and following online and supporting them. So they had a book club, and they were actually giving away 25 copies. So I was able to get one from them, and I joined the book club on Zoom on Sunday afternoons. And just reading the chapters and then discussing it with others. Yes, of course, it is about relationships and helping to prepare you for marriage and everything. So I think it did have the biggest impact on me, because when I read it, I was single as I read it, and it did change the way I thought about a lot of things, and it helped me to prepare for even meeting you, I think.
You see? Wow. Okay, so can I just show Relationship Goals briefly? So, That's Relationship Goals by Mark Todd.
Mike Todd, yeah.
Mike Todd, yeah,
Yes,
Mike
he's
Todd,
an
yeah.
American. He's a pastor.
Yeah.
This is the study guide. So I bought this to accompany. This basically led our discussion
Okay.
on the Zoom studies, but this is the book. And this year, him and his wife just released a Relationship Goals Challenge book, which is like a 30-day
Okay.
book that you read through with exercises, conversations to have. So there's also the YouTube videos that you can check out, but definitely this helped me a lot last year to prepare for you coming into my life.
That's so sweet.
Thank
Yeah. I think the next question that I'm curious about knowing is, this year, as usual, I'm sure people, started off the year with, their goal to read 20 books, 24 books. Sometimes people start off with, okay, 1 book each month. Sometimes some people may say 2 books each month, which will come down to 24 books. But sometimes the year ends and nothing was done. No book was read. Why do you think people are not able to reach their reading goals?
I think people struggle with their reading goals because they're not interested in what they're reading. Maybe they feel pressure just to read what everyone else is reading, even though they don't really like it themselves. I guess you can ask, they just don't have the dedication to it as well. It's similarly like we set out our New Year's resolutions in January and we don't always, follow through. So, I would definitely encourage people who want to read more books just to do it. Continue reading, read anything. Don't feel like you're cheating because you're listening to the audiobook. It definitely counts as reading. Don't let people discourage you saying it doesn't count. Because of those 70 books, a lot of them that I listened to were just audio only, and I didn't have the accompanying hardcover or paperback. So yeah, just consume books in any way. Read different types of books. Read short stories. Read books to your kids. Like, everything counts. There are no rules. Just read. Fill that time with reading, which is far more beneficial than staying on social media for a lot of the times of the day, just watching TV and watching movies all the time. Yeah, just read. You learn so much, and it just helps to fill your imagination. It brings you so much more knowledge on all different topics, and just learning from other people is just so important.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I think for me personally, one thing that I got from what you were saying earlier with respect to how you go to the gym and you used to be, reading or listening to the audiobook, I'm like, every moment counts. And no moment, you can never find the right moment.
Yeah.
You have to make, you have to take advantage of the moment. You have to create the moment
Absolutely.
for reading.
Absolutely.
Sitting on the bus, on your commute, you could be reading. In the kitchen whilst you're cooking, you could be listening to an audiobook.
Yeah,
Because sometimes
absolutely.
you just never get the right moment to
Yeah.
read. You have to create it.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, especially now with, we still have to line up to get into stores, but also people just scrolling through their social media feed.
Yeah.
But why not be listening to something? Why not have a book in your purse and pull it out and read along with, right, as you're waiting? So feel those moments, because you're not always going to be able to sit down and say, I have an hour to read, and you're going to read for an hour a day. No, those tiny 15-minute, they add up to an hour, throughout the day. So definitely just make the opportunities and take them when you have them.
It's been an interesting conversation.
So I have a question for you.
We've all made. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
So what is your reading goal for 2021?
My reading goal. This year I want to read a lot of biographies. And I have a number of selected biographies, maybe about 12 of them. Some of them are really, really huge. I don't know, I think Martin Luther King's book is one of them. I have Nelson Mandela, one of them. I think I have Barack and Michelle. Yeah, I already finished Michelle's Becoming. I'm currently reading Barack's
Audacity of Hope?
Audacity of Hope. And I think last month I finished his book that is Dreams for My Father. So my reading goal for this year is to just read at least 10 biographies. And as you can see, these books are heavy. They are really, really loaded. And like Raven advised, I'm planning on using sometimes accompanying, the audiobooks with the the hardcover books, because it helps, because I'm not going to have the luxury of time to sit down and read or to flip through all of these pages. So yeah, that's my reading goals, and hopefully I'll come back and share with you how I managed to read maybe 10, 12, maybe 15. I'm definitely going to push through that. Yeah, that's my reading goal.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
It would be very hard for me to read only one genre of books. So I definitely need to throw in some shorter books, some fiction.
Yeah.
But if you can read only biographies this year, like, I'll be so proud of you. But if you don't finish your goal, I'll still be proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and I think I would definitely incorporate your advice with blending in some lighter books. Sometimes, some of the books are kind of boring, sometimes too heavy, and sometimes you just need something to, get out of that kind of heavy thinking space and get into a more lighter one. Just, clear your mind sort of. So I'll definitely, take a lot of, advice from what you've shared with us today.
Good.
Yeah.
And I hope you take some of the advice that I've shared with you all today. Share your goals with us in the comments. If you need some advice or you want some recommendations, let us know and we'll be happy to share with you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's been a very, very interesting conversation. I've enjoyed it. I've also learned so much from, sharing in Raven's reading journey for 2020. Share with us in the comments, what you've learned from it, what, you're going to be taking from this conversation. And if you have any sort of advice that you want to seek directly from us, we are happy to share with you. And let's keep growing together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And remember, birds fly,
Readers are fly.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.